For the first project of the 3D light board laser peg set, think outside the box, we have this cube-shaped design, and it's important to follow the instructions closely so that you build it properly. The difficulty level of this project is 2, so it is the second easiest category. Thinking outside the box is using your imagination and thinking of new possibilities without limiting yourself, or seeing things from a completely different perspective. I'm going to turn off my desk lamp, and then I will turn on the red button, and you get a neat light display. Unfortunately, my camera may pick up the colors of the laser pegs differently than they actually are. So, in other words, the colors of the pegs may look different to my camera than in real life. But you get green, blue, yellow, red, and white. There are 2 other settings, as I mentioned in the intro video. There's slow flashing. This could possibly be a good light display to get a person's attention. And now be aware that the 3rd setting, fast flashing, may possibly cause seizures or other health problems in people who are prone. So please do not watch this if you think that this will happen. Perhaps on this setting, the display could be used at a dance or nightclub as a special effect. And then hitting the red button again turns the display off. For Project 2, Symmetry 101, difficulty level 2, we are going to learn about symmetry. This is one of several projects that will teach about symmetry, and symmetry is a balance of proportions. Any 2 points lying on the perpendicular at equal distances are symmetrical. In other words, if you were to fold this shape in half along the center, the 2 sides will look identical. This is the first principle of symmetry that this project will explain. If I was to take a knife and cut this shape in half, both sides would look identical, just mirror images of each other. I am going to make the design flash, first slowly, and then quickly. Now, the rapidly flashing lights may remind you of those on a carnival ride or a carnival game. They are programmed to flash very quickly for special effects. Now, something that I believe is very important to know regarding these laser pegs is that they can be temperamental. You have to have them connected tightly because the connections otherwise may not be too good, and therefore, example, if I was to move some of the top pegs, for instance, they will go out because the connections are not real strong. So you have to align them just right so that they all light up. For Project 3, Symmetry 102, difficulty level 1, we are going to demonstrate this unique shape. It may look a lot like an X. I'm going to turn on the switch, and look how beautiful that is. Now, this teaches about vertical and horizontal symmetry, even diagonal symmetry. Because if you were to take a knife and cut the shape in half, down the middle, or from left to right, or diagonally, each half will remain the same. As a matter of fact, if you were to divide this shape into 4 equal pieces, then each part would have the same proportions. So this is the second lesson about symmetry. Now I'm going to make it flash, first slowly, and then quickly. For Project 4, Symmetry 103, I am going to demonstrate this project. The difficulty level for Symmetry 103 is 1, so this is fairly simple. And the shape looks more basic than the previous one. I'm going to turn on the switch, and look at that. Now, this shape would be symmetrical if I was to cut it right down the middle vertically. However, I wouldn't say that would be symmetrical horizontally, because the proportions would be slightly different. For instance, this peg sticks up outside of the figure, while on the bottom this peg sticks out from inside. If I was to turn the shape around and cut it in half like that, it would, and I cut it down, it would not look completely symmetrical. And so I can only say that it has symmetry only along one side. I'm going to make it flash first slowly, and then rapidly. Project 5 is Florida Wind Sail. The difficulty level is 3, and you might be able to tell that this project is pretty advanced, and the instructions look more difficult to follow than in the previous projects. You do have to study them so that you get an idea of what you need to do to assemble the models. But you have Florida Wind Sail, and this gives an example of a sailboat, which is a boat propelled partially or completely by the wind blowing against one or more sails. I'm going to turn it on. And it may be hard to tell, but here, if I turn the model around, you can see that this is the sail. Now remember, the laser pegs are temperamental sometimes. They have to be adjusted just right for the connections to be good. But here's the boat itself. You have legs that support it on the board. There we have the legs that light up. Turn it around again. And now I'm going to make it flash. Slowly first. And then rapidly.